Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. College football free agency. It's here. It is here. The first official day where schools can start reaching out to players, right? So, the excitement leading up to this day, obviously, is Deion Sanders going out to the University of Colorado and basically telling those players, hey, I'm bringing my own luggage, right? So, I don't want to, that's been ran into the ground. But there have been some interesting players that have gone into the portal. There have been some interesting rumors about players that have gone into the portal or were contemplating going into the portal, right? But for the guys that are there, some of the most notable names, Brennan Armstrong, who this particular year had a bad year. I don't know if it was just the switch in the offense or what the situation was, but I, for one, thought the University of Georgia, not the University of Georgia, I'm already ready to talk playoffs, but I thought that the University of Virginia was going to be one of those teams that was going to be a dark horse in the Coastal because obviously, even though they got a new staff, I still felt that, Brennan Armstrong would be a guy that, would do some things. He still had a collection of guys that he could still throw the ball to. Javion Cohen, 2-year starter from the University of Alabama. He's in the portal. And that's the interesting thing about it, because value is going to be there for certain guys. We know that. But for a guy of his ilk to be in the portal just goes to show, going back to what I asked the question on my video about, can you build a program in this era? And so I'm sure the University of Alabama had this young man pegged to be a contributor, a starter next year. Not just a contributor, but be a starter. And now he's entered his name into the portal, right? Now, obviously, I look at this from an NFL perspective. Your prospective team has the first right of refusal. So with the age of NIL and certain things going on, he could very well end back up at the University of Alabama. We just don't know. A lot of Miami Hurricanes' second favorite player behind Shamar Stewart that doesn't play for the University of Miami, Justin Flo, entered his name into the portal today. And man, guys are excited. But I have to address the hypocrisy here. Y'all want Justin Flo, but are wanting Don Chaney to leave the team. What black youngster do? I don't get it. I don't get it. But I guess the defense is sometimes when a player goes to a different environment or goes to another school or something like that, maybe the injury issues that they were exhibiting, maybe they may just go away. So there's that, but I'm astonished at some of the rhetoric going on with this. But that's why I said that 5-star stuff, man, people don't let that go, man. For as many people that say that the recruiting services are trash and they don't recruit players correctly, y'all sure give credence to it when a star player leaves and y'all feel like, well, he can salvage him, but it is what it is. So hopefully, the University of Miami, we can identify and get guys to come in to help with year 2 of this rebuild. Or is it year 1 since this year was year 0? I don't know, kind of confused. But anyway, on to playoff talks, right? Now, this is something that I just find very interesting. I see many pundits are saying that the University of Georgia, since them being the number 1 team, they got shafted, right? They got shafted because they get to play Ohio State first game of the playoffs, and Michigan gets an easy game by going to play by TCU. Now, historically speaking, right? Historically speaking, Ohio State is one of the most accomplished programs in college football history. Michigan, again, another one of those very, very accomplished programs in football history. University of Georgia has his history in his own right, and TCU is the new guy on the block. Now, the thing that it's a few issues that I have, right? But I'm going to start with the first one. Parity. You talk about parity. And TCU should not be punished for losing a game that they won against a team during the season. This was done quite a few years ago when, again, guess who was involved? Ohio State. The championship that Ohio State won, Ohio State didn't even win the Big Ten. And I see that some of their fans are feeling like they should be the 3 seed, right? Feel like they should be the 3 seed. They want to get back, they want to get back at Michigan, right? But y'all were put into the playoffs and didn't even win the conference. So the nerve of pundits to say TCU should have dropped a spot or TCU should have been out of it and put Alabama in when y'all are not even like, I'm happy TCU didn't drop. I'm happy for the simple fact that I shouldn't be punished because another team wasn't good enough to win their division, to win their conference. I shouldn't be punished. I beat this team. We beat this team. Now, we didn't beat the team for the conference, but we beat this team. Ohio State was dominated on the football field by the University of Michigan. Dominated. And nothing warrants you jumping in front of TCU. Nothing at all warrants you jumping into TCU. Jumping in front of TCU. Nothing. Because I look at it on the flip side. Now, obviously, this is a rivalry game. Anything can happen. But Michigan has had Ohio State number the past 2 years. So, if anything, Georgia is the one that's getting the easy battle. Because Ohio State, y'all don't like being physical. Y'all are not a physical program right now. And I know I can't talk because I'm a fan of the Miami Hurricanes. And we're not physical either. Right? But we're not in this position. But Georgia gets off on this, right? Georgia gets off on this because Michigan snatched something from Ohio State these past 2 years. They've snatched something away from them. And Georgia is twice the team that Michigan is, right? Now, like I said on my video yesterday, I am praying for I hope the spread is able to prevail. So for all the negative things I just said about Ohio State, I do hope that y'all find some type of way to beat the University of Georgia. A lot of people point to that Tennessee game where Georgia was able to pretty much do what they wanted to do. But there were some plays that Tennessee just flat out missed. Guys were outran. Guys were beat. And if Ohio State can hit on some of those plays that the University of Tennessee couldn't hit on, this could become a very interesting game, and it could maybe put some pressure on Georgia to actually see what Stetson Bennett is about, right? Now, again, those are my issues. You talk about parity, but you're upset that TCU didn't drop a spot and TCU was playing for a championship when a few years ago, I think it was Baylor who should have got in, but since they lost to TCU the last game of the season, they got jumped, right? So I feel like that y'all, you owe the Big 12. You know, you kind of owe the Big 12, right? But I do think all games, I do think each game should be fairly good. I do think each game should be fairly good. I think Michigan is favored by 9. So, but I mean that'll be interesting to see how that game goes. I'm not necessarily sold on Michigan, even though they've gone through the season that they've had. And the thing I won't do, this is not what I'm going to do, because regardless of how dominant a team is leading up to a championship game, they have that game, or they may have two games where, you know, some things just didn't go their particular way. I know for the 0-1 Canes, the Boston College game, and then we won by 2 points against a Virginia Tech team. So it happens. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna hold Georgia being down what it was 22-12 and, you know, late in the game against Missouri. I'm not gonna hold it against y'all, right? But I am going to hold Ohio State getting beat badly by Michigan against y'all, and y'all are where y'all should. I don't. Based on what it is, y'all are a one-loss team, so y'all shouldn't be any higher than 4. And I know the consensus is, well, you know, Ohio State is probably maybe the second most talented team in the playoffs, with TCU being the least talented, and maybe obviously you got Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU in terms of talent. But if parity is what you want, then parity is what we're getting. And TCU should not have been punished for losing a close game that went into the overtime. And it's not like they lost to a team that had multiple losses. I mean, Kansas State, 10-3? So, I mean, they had a very good year. They were a good football team. So, they lost to a good football team. They lost. It was a close game. They could have won. At no point in that game did it look like, after Michigan got rolling, that Ohio State could win the game. You got punked. You got bullied. So, take your medicine. Get ready. You got 30 days or whatever, and get ready to go play Georgia. And all the people that's crying, and it's a lot of the Northern. I even saw some Michigan State fans crying about, oh, they should have jumped TCU. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. TCU is where they need to be. They're 3. Ohio State, y'all are where y'all ended up being, is at 4. So get ready to face the Dogs. And even though I'm not supposed to, but I'm rooting and hoping that y'all win the game. I'm rooting and hoping y'all win the game. So with that being said, man, it's still all about the U. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's still all about the U. And hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think.